Do you know what we love? Creatives. These people fit the bill entirely and came up with some pretty incredible works of art that will be forever remembered on the internet, considering their pieces weren't designed to stand the test of time. They put in a lot of time and effort. They maximized use of their potential and talents. They decided to work with a medium to bring a temporary work to life to surprise those lucky enough to see them. These here are most amazing sand sculptures. Dirty Dentist. First of all, wouldn't it kind of suck if you were in the sort of pain that this guy is in when he went to the dentist? Seriously, you can clearly see that the dentist is really putting some elbow grease into what he's doing, and that assistant is just up and ready to stick this guy with whatever is contained in that hypodermic needle. Not to mention, the place is all sandy, which is totally unsanitary. This is just the dentist visit that nightmares are made of. Remind us to never book with these folks. Surly Sniper. This is pretty incredible. Look at the patience on this bear. Not only is he taking the time to line up his shot, but he's resisting the urge to just charge and use his natural bear weapons to tear these sunbathers to pieces. Really though, this sand sculpture is pretty awesome. We don't understand just how the artist built that sand gun without gravity doing its thing. Amazing. Thirsty. Is it beer? Is it coffee? Is it honey? We don't know. But what we do know is that this sand sculpture is pretty impressive. We mean, just look at all of the detail. It had to take forever to get all of the texture in the bear's coat. They also built a whole scene around the animal, which earns them extra points. All in all, this sand sculpture deserves an A+. Feelin' Froggy. Well, how about that? These two look mighty comfy and mighty creepy at the same time. Is this some monument to the reptilian race? We also like their tiny little speedos. Who thinks of these things and then spends their whole day at the beach designing and creating them? People with too much time on their hands, that's who. Interesting? Sure. Weird? Yes. Amazing? Absolutely. Goal! Yeah, soccer. Okay, so we're assuming that the creator or creators of this fun little sand sculpture are fans of soccer or football, depending on where this thing was created. Sports fans take their love for their teams and their favorite players everywhere they go and incorporate it into every aspect of their lives, and that's what we see here. They just need a little more color, and their masterpiece will be complete, only to sadly be knocked down and destroyed by the elements within a day or two. Lots of fries. Alrighty then, this sand sculpture is a bit random, but what can you do? Whoever created this obviously had some intention, or no intention at all, and just threw together the first idea that popped into their head. What we have here is a basket of beach potatoes that look pretty darn good, almost like real potatoes, and we wouldn't be surprised if anyone thought they had a midday snack, only for it to crumble in their hand. Talk about disappointment. Colbert. Somebody must really like Stephen Colbert. Like, this thing could even be bordering on obsession. We wonder how this even came up. This want to build a giant, intricate sand sculpture of the great Colbert. Do you think the artists were drunk? Were they trying to be funny? Or maybe they really are just Stephen Colbert's biggest fans? We don't really know, but we do know that it came out fantastic, and that's why it's right here on this list among some of the best. Ouch. This poor old Sandman got the short end of the stick and was on the wrong end of a punch. It has to suck enough already to be a man made of sand, but then to be made to be receiving a blow to the face for the entire time that you exist on Earth, now that's evil. Poor guy didn't have a chance. He was born being punched, and he will die being punched. He's a bit round. Who knew that even sand people had gods or kings? But this here is proof that even the most inanimate of things apparently have masters and a hierarchy, and that some people are just meant to be at the top. Or maybe we're looking at it wrong. Perhaps this is a guy at his lowest, in his depravity. Perhaps he's lost all will to resist and has given in to his gluttonous self. Whoa, whoever thought that a sandy man would make you think so much? Oh, and what's with the angry bird in the corner? Weird stuff. Taking a chill. This bear must have worked really hard to get his large meal up out of the ocean and then all the way up to the shore. He needs a break now because hunting is hard work, and a fish that's even bigger than him couldn't have been easy to catch. This is a pretty neat little sand sculpture, but why is the fish so thin? The thing looks like it's been under an asphalt roller a time or two, but hey, good for the bear. He obviously worked his tail off and is now getting some much needed rest. How romantic. This spot looks like the ideal place to have a relaxing, romantic dinner for two. Picture being out at the beach at sunset, on seats made of sand, eating from a table made of sand, and eating food that's more than likely contaminated by sand. Think about how romantic it will be later, when you have to shower off and dig all the sand out of your crevice and your partner has to do the same. Try and feel the sand that you can't get out, all stuck up in your hair and your pits and in your crack for the next day or two. Imagine all of the sand you've ingested making its way through and then out of you days after your romantic date is over. Still, think it's a good idea? Ooh. Look at this totally artistic sand sculpture. How does one have the patience to create something like this? How did they even get a three-headed dragon to sit long enough for them to make a sand recreation of it? We've got so many questions. It had to be so painstaking to go through and form every single one of those spikes down the spines and then those scales. Talent doesn't even begin to describe what these sand artists are doing. We found them. Here they are, the wild things. We found them. So this is where the wild things were the whole time. We thought that they were in the forest or something, but as it turns out, they're just on the beach checking out the views, people watching and catching a tan. Makes sense. We'd like to do that too, but we have this thing called a job. Ain't nobody got no time for no tans. Sandcastle. Okay, we'll admit, this isn't really much of a sandcastle, but it's basically more like an entire sand city. We thought that the three-headed dragon had to be painstaking, but look at this thing. How long do you think this took? We really wonder where the people who create these things have time for it, because there's no way that something like this could be done in one day, right? Maybe we're just not artistic enough to understand, but holy moly, we sure can appreciate. This is beautiful, and you better not show your kids this picture, otherwise they'll be expecting this the next time you start shoveling wet sand into that bucket. Horsey heads. This is a pretty depiction of a few animals sculpted into the sand, but whoever built it obviously has some talent. Not to mention, they probably have a love for animals as well. We're just a little unsure whether this is a sculpture dedicated to horses, or if it's just dedicated to animals in general, because the face on the right almost looks like a cow, as does the little head above the letters on the ground between the two main heads. What even are those letters? They don't seem to spell anything. C-A-R, some other letter, another A, we're not sure. But that doesn't mean this sand creation isn't great. Willy Wonka. This here is a fun sculpture of the world-famous Willy Wonka and the kids who found golden tickets and got to visit his chocolate factory. It's pretty obvious who's who. Wonka obviously has his hand on Charlie, Augustus Gloop is, well, gigantic, Veruca Salt is throwing a fit, and Mike TV is on a tablet or something with his 3D glasses on. It's neat and accurate, and it's just too bad that the elements will soon destroy it. It's too bad this thing isn't everlasting. Huge hand. Whoa. That's one massive hand. Why go to so much trouble just to make a hand in the sand when you could do something with more than only one body part? Obviously, this was their goal, and they spent a lot of time on it, thus, it looks great. It even has what looks like finger and handprints and everything. Doesn't this just make you want to give it a big ol' high five? Jump on it, and that's pretty much like a high five too. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head. Excellent. A reminder. Oh, what? This person really constructed the Last Supper out of sand? That's pretty incredible considering the time it must have taken to get these details right before they felt comfortable enough to take a picture of it and put it on the internet. Not only are religious fanatics a little difficult to handle sometimes, but trolls on the internet are getting increasingly worse and worse. They're lucky that no one, that we know of, took offense to the fact that Jesus was built from sand here. Excellent sculpting job, excellent end product, lots of gumption. Perfect. Jesus. If you look up sand sculptures on the internet, you'll find that people obviously love Jesus and scripture and legends and gods. We stumbled across this here picture of Christ, who is not only alive, but straight chillin'. This nearly looks like the dude from The Big Lebowski. We're not saying that there's any problem with that, because there's definitely not. We're just wondering if these people even realize they created such a masterpiece. His dudeness so deserves this. We shall bow. Boy, we've seen some pretty amazing works of art already, haven't we? We have one more for you, but first, we have to ask, what's been your favorite sculpture so far? Would you have had the patience to create something like this if you had the time? Give us your answers in the comments below. Sort of scary. Does anyone else feel a little weird about this sculpture? Like, why is the gorilla using a smartphone? Maybe it's a statement piece about us as a species, and how we're gorilla-like but still use and figure out the technology. Or perhaps it's a statement about just where we're heading. Maybe in time gorillas will have cell phones and know how to use them, and we'll have moved on to some even crazier, even more advanced technology. That option sounds even scarier. This world we live in, it's getting interesting out there. What amazing artistry. If this video was something you enjoyed, help us out by dropping a like down below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel below as well, or by clicking our logo right here on this screen, just so that you don't miss out on any of our great content in the future. Take a peek at this next video that we picked out just for you, and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.